Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another Chart Nerd TA video. Today we're going to be doing some technical analysis on HEX USD. This is on the weekly time frame currently speaking. Now, what you want to bear in mind here for HEX is I've got two trend lines here that are resistance, or I'm expecting to be resistance. This trend line here, it was support in the past, but I am expecting that to be met in the future. And you've also got this descending resistance here that every time HEX has ran up to it has met it as resistance and has basically confirmed its bear market trend along with the rest of the market. Now, what I wanted to look at is a few things here. So going back to the bull run where HEX had this support level, okay, which sits at around 10 cents. You can see it had a point of contact of support here. It put in that last impulsive move up to 51 cents. Now, since this point, this is where this trend line comes into play, because you came back down for support. You ran into this trend line for a second point of contact. At this point, you got rejected again, came back down to the 10 cent for support. You then rallied up to the resistance line once again for a third point of contact, and then you lost this support on the third point of contact, which confirmed you was in this breakdown. Now, what happened from this is we had a technical target. So the breakdown target from the bull run high, which explains how we got the low. I'm going to change this in a second, sorry. So since you ran into that last point of contact of resistance, you can see that this trend line, you actually came down and met the technical target sort of to a T, and that target was met. Now at this point, when we did lose support and meet that technical target, we also created another pattern. Now this is the pattern that we've been in and that I'm looking at here, which is, I think it's quite a bullish pattern, and potentially this low is the low for HEX. The project is up 55%, I think, in the past 2 weeks, just like many other altcoins from the bounce of Bitcoin this past week. It's been fantastic. But again, let's be cautious. We need to look at both outcomes here, and I'm going to explain them to you now. So from this pattern where we lost this descending triangle, okay, you lost it as support, you started this falling channel, so to speak, and you've met it as resistance, support, and it does look like what you're trying to do is come up for a third point of contact retest somewhere along this line. Again, this is a descending level of resistance, so it's very hard to see or tell where it may be, but you can see you've been up, you've come down, again you've met it as resistance, come back to support, and then you've come back down for a support again. It looks like you're attempting to touch this trend line again as a third point of contact, and at which point you would have 1, 2, 3 points of contact on each resistance and support line here, which means a break will occur. So if we start to break out of this trend line in this pattern, do see HEX come up here, maybe come back for support and actually break this trend line. If it does break that trend line, I think the next point of contact of resistance would be this descending level of resistance, which I was showing you prior back on the descending triangle when you actually started this downtrend for HEX. So since then, and actually since you lost support back in May 2022, this area of previous support has not been retested as resistance. So I think in the near future, there is levels of resistance right now we need to get above. You've got this green trend line here as resistance. You've got this descending trend line, this red trend line that's been resistance since the bull run ended. And you've also got the previous support of 10 cents, which when you lost, you haven't actually come back up and retested it since you lost it. So I think in the near future, so to say within the next year or so, I do think it's very hard to give a time frame. I'm sorry, the markets are so uncertain at the moment. But if you was to start breaking out, holding support here, tackling out of this trend line and taking out previous levels of resistance above, because once you do actually break out of this trend line here, this resistance line, okay, that you've got as resistance, this is our current resistance, so to speak. We're trying to pump up to that now. If you do start to break out of that, when you do break out of these sort of falling patterns, you tend to retrace to where they actually started, which was back up here at around 0.073. So if you was to see the breakout of this resistance in the coming weeks, I would look for a retracement to that target. But again, as we keep saying, you know, once you break out of this resistance, you then got this resistance to break out of, okay, which you've had 3 points of contact on already, this bear market, and then again you've got this 10 cent mark, which I think will act as strong resistance moving forward as well. So in the near short term, I would be expecting some sort of relief, potentially another 10%, 11% here for HEX in the coming week or two, if we haven't met resistance already. So we're going to take a little look at that now. So just to finalize on the patterns here, you had the descending triangle, lost support. You haven't backtested that support as resistance yet. You've entered this falling channel, and whichever way it goes, if you start to break this resistance, you're looking healthy and you're looking to retrace. If you start to come back down here and retest this area of support and lose that support, then it does confirm that HEX has not ended its bear market and the trend is still your friend until the end, basically, until it decides that it's over and wants to start bouncing bouncing and entering its bull run. What we need to look out here for, I'm going to get rid of these patterns right now and get into some indicators and have a look at what's going on. So right now, if we look at the weekly time frame, what's happened is you fell down to this 0.017, which is the current low. And what we're doing is retracing back up to 0.049. Now, we may see resistance at the 050 and the 0618. These are areas we want to see a clean break above. I'm going to get this trend line back in as resistance. These are areas you want to see a clean break above to confirm that we are still in this uptrend. Again, you've got this level of resistance here on the weekly. Boom, boom. And potentially what you're looking to do now is run into that as resistance. So this is a bit of confluence that at this point, when you come up to around 0.02917 or 0.033, this sort of golden pocket here, I like to call it, when you come up to that, that may act as strong resistance and you may come back down to form a higher low. So if we are running into resistance, I'm going to get the EMAs on here as well. We are running into resistance currently. You can see that the 10 EMA, which is this blue line here, this is an EMA, so a moving average. You can see that every time you come up to it near enough, you end up crashing back down. You came up to the 10 EMA again, you put in a new low. Came up to the 10 EMA again, you put in a new low. Right now you're coming up to the 10 EMA. Are you going to come down and put in a new low? Who knows? Again, what would be nice to see is a clean break of this resistance here on the weekly, getting back above the 10, back above the 20, holding it as support, and this confirms that you've basically flipped the switch. You know, but we need to see a nice clean breakthrough. We do need to see a nice clean breakthrough. It's all well and dandy being up 55% off these lows, but if you can't get through these fibs, this 050 and 0618 golden pocket, and you can't close above the 20 or the 10 EMA on the weekly, then I'm afraid that we are still in a downtrend until we are not. So what we need to look for, if we are meeting resistance now, I'm going to get in a few targets and have a look at potentially where we could be retracing to. So if we do fail to get above this 10 EMA this week and close above it, and we do start to have a retracement in the markets, from the local high this week, retracing back down to the December low, that's currently speaking our low, what I would be looking for, again, it's already wick there, but the candle close may potentially come back down to 0.021 or towards 0.020. Which from current price would offer a short opportunity of around 15 to 20%. If it did come back down and do that, and it has met resistance at this blue 10 EMA, and it won't break above, potentially you could have some sort of A, B, C back down to this area for support. A lot of people may get shaken out, but if it holds, you've got a low, you'd have a higher low, and what this confirms is bullish structure, and you'd be forming some sort of bottoming out foundation where you've put this low in, you've retraced to resistance, you come back for a higher low, and once you tackle out, you're basically breaking out something called a ascending triangle, and you'd have a technical target. Again, this is a guesstimate, but from there we go, from there to there, and then you can see the breakout target once you actually do start to tackle out of resistance, would bring you back up to a current price range of around 0.045, and that is a price increase from current price of around 74%. So again, it would be nice to see a pullback and coil up and form some bottoming structure where we meet resistance, come back for a high level of support, back on this golden ratio on this fib, eventually come back up and retrace to this local high we're meeting as the 10 EMA, break it, have a clean break and push up to this, and you're looking at a 75% long. So that's my overall outlook, I think, for the project. I do think we are meeting resistance. We need to come back for a correction, 15 to 20%, higher lows, coil up in some ascending triangle, boom, 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 boom. And once you break this resistance, you're off into that 74% target that we just had back up to previous resistance levels. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for, I think, in the near short term. It's amazing. It would provide opportunity for people that haven't had the opportunity to buy HEX or get involved or have missed this 55% pump off the bottom in the last 2 weeks. So again, fear never feels like opportunity, but when you are at these lows, you can see evidently that from 2 weeks ago the sentiment was so bearish for Bitcoin and for the whole market that just pops out of nowhere, and now everyone's bullish again. Okay, so try and never play on emotion. Never play with emotion in crypto, because it can mess you up big time. But that's a quick video for you today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the content on HEX. If you did, please do like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Until next time, from Chart Nerd TA, take care. Peace out.